Joining me right now to sort it all out is House Minority Whip Steve Scalise. Congressman, thanks very much for being with us this weekend. Please tell us your reaction to Joe Biden's sanctions on Russia.
Yeah, Maria, it's great to be back with you. And if you look at President Biden's sanctions, first of all, it's always been after the fact. He's allowed Putin to move for months to this point. Everybody saw this coming. He could have taken steps a long time ago. Ukraine was asking for some basic defense systems, surface-to-air missiles, for example, so they could at least protect themselves better. He denied that. There were other things that he denied. But most importantly, Maria, if you wanted to put real sanctions on Putin, take away the leverage that he has with energy. Joe Biden took American energy off the map as a tool to help our allies, to help our own country, too. And so if you look today with prices over $100 a barrel, Putin's pocketing tens of billions of dollars that he otherwise would not have had because of Biden's weak energy agenda at home. So I've called on President Biden to pull back and reverse all of his anti-American energy policies he put in place. That way you would take leverage away from Putin. And by the way, you would take money out of Putin's pocket. He's using those high oil prices to help finance this invasion. We should take that away from him.
Yeah. Well, look, all you had to do was look at the market reaction to figure out that these sanctions are weak. As soon as President Biden announces the sanctions on Thursday, markets rally. And the NASDAQ was down 3.5% before the sanctions were announced. And then it rallies up and it ends up 3.3% on the NASDAQ. So, I mean, markets are reacting here, and oil prices hit $100 a barrel. First time that's happened since Russia invaded Crimea back in 2014.
Yeah, in 2014.
What is your take on what needs to be done?
Yeah, and Maria, and it wasn't just the market reaction, which clearly, as you pointed out, indicates that nobody takes that seriously. Well, look at what President Zelensky said in Ukraine. He basically said, we're alone over here. The U.S. does not have our back. And he's saying that for a reason, because he's been asking President Biden for help for months, seeing this coming. Not troops on the ground, by the way. You know, some basic defensive weapon systems that President Trump had provided, you know, those Javelin missiles, the ability to bust tanks. Zelensky was asking a year ago for some other defense capabilities, and President Biden said no. And he did it because he was afraid of provoking Russia. Why is President Biden afraid of taking on Russia? You need to be tough when you've got bullies out there, and they're seeing the weakness. They're taking advantage of President Biden's weakness. They saw it in Afghanistan. As you pointed out earlier, President Xi is looking at his own desires in Taiwan, and all of this leads from a weakness by President Biden. He needs to be tough by, again, take the leverage away. He could today turn on the spigots of American energy and take leverage away from Putin. He gave that leverage to Putin when he approved Nord Stream 2 after killing Keystone Pipeline, banning drilling on federal lands. He could reverse that right now, and you would probably see oil drop at least $20, $30 a barrel. And by the way, Putin would lose billions of dollars. But President Biden spent more time in his press conference right after the invasion attacking American energy companies than he did attacking Russia.
Well, that's right. And if he were to reverse it, it would go against his climate change priority. Congressman, I was very taken aback to see the Blackstone Group announce this week that it is no longer going to fund oil and gas exploration. This obviously a page out of Joe Biden's book to get away from fossil fuels. It's actually impacting business decisions right now. Real quick, does this come up in this upcoming week in the State of the Union address that President Biden will deliver this week? Do you think he's going to mention the open border? Will he mention the spike in crime, inflation at 40-year highs?
We're surely going to be calling on him to mention those things. I'd be surprised if he did, because he created all of those crises that you just mentioned. He doesn't want to secure the border. We had a secure border. He doesn't want to open up American energy because he shut down American energy. But again, as you pointed out, you know, you look at the action Blackstone. By the way, there are other financial companies that are doing the same thing. They're going after American industries, especially the energy industry. I've called on President Biden to reverse that as well. He could do that, putting pressure through Treasury. He doesn't want to. Oh, and by the way, when they're talking about global warming and climate change, I wonder if any of them are going to do a carbon footprint of Putin's invasion of Ukraine. They could have stopped that. They could have reduce those carbon emissions, and you don't see him caring about carbon emissions when it applies to bad actors around the world. They're turning manufacturing in America over to China, who emits 5 times more carbon to make the same things we make in America. You want to lower carbon emissions globally, make more things in America, including oil, because when he's begging OPEC and Russia to produce oil, they emit more carbon to make the same oil. Make it in America, take away Putin's leverage, and by the way, you will reduce carbon emissions. Seems like he forgets the science when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, you have got some great analysis on all of that, Congressman. It's great to see you this weekend. Thanks so much.
Always great to be with you, Maria. Thanks.